see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us slaves. I can feel the sun.
Well, good morning. It's Monday, October 21st, 2024, and welcome to episode 789 of the Lots Project Morning Show, where the coffee's strong, the opinions are stronger, and everything is always filter-free. I'm Brian, your host, and today I am enjoying a Silver Bullet blend from foodforestfarms.com, where you can always get 10% off with discount code LOTS10, and the shipping is always free. While you're there, check out C4 Club and all its many benefits. C4 came this past week, and I was very, very happy with the selection sent out to me. You can pick what you want. You can let Brian roll the dice and send off what he thinks you want. It's a great club. It is. It's a great value. The price is lower than I would ever expect for the quality of product you get. So check out that C4 Club today at foodforestfarms.com. Today we're going to be chatting about what happened over the weekend, things we got done, things we didn't get done, what is going on with country music. I dove into a little bit of that this weekend, and I was let's say less than impressed and a little bit more. First, let's head on over into the live chat, see who's hanging out and in the coffee crew, and we'll get started soon. Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Digger in early. Good morning, Digger. Thanks for stopping in. John Palmer, good morning and good day to you. Backwoods Butcher, we have a celebrity in our midst. He must be all rested up from not doing TikTok lives or something, or he's exploring the YouTube app and thought he would drop by and say hi. Good morning, Backwoods Butcher. Canadian Farmstead, how are you doing? Thanks for stopping in. Off-Grid Ping, good morning to you. Good morning. Jeremiah, good morning. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. Canadian Farmstead, how's Digger doing? Digger, how are you doing? Are you on the mend yet? Sounded like you were having a rough go of it here into retirement. Is that the whole the day you retire, it all falls apart? Good morning, Tank the Ride. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you. Stu Katz over on the Vertical Pede asking a very important question this morning. Do I prefer shaved or bush? Man, it takes all kinds to make the world go round. I don't know if there is a preference, maybe a little of both. SOS Toto Miraza. How are you doing? I'm doing great, man. How are you doing, brother? Thanks for stopping in. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe over on the Vertical Feed. Appreciate that. Backwoods Butcher says, or my kids are cracking the whip and I'm hiding in the kitchen. You don't know how to take care of those kids yet? Stu Katz asked if I've ever eaten waxed. No, I don't. That's a question. I'm so old. You know how long that I have to recall. I'm getting up there in my years, and I don't know. I would literally have to say I don't know. Canadian Farmstead says he likes the Charlie Chaplin. Take the Ride says I'll take what I can get. Backwoods says he's hiding. That's why he's hiding, is those Jesus. Digger says still in the nursing home, limited walking with a walker. And that came from a pinched nerve, dude. Man, was there any sort of injury that came along with it that spurred it? Is there or was it just like a twisted the wrong way, or how did that all go down, man? That sounds horrible. Not to make light of your situation at the moment, but man, that just sounds horrible. John Palmer says, bless you, Corey. She says, thanks. Hunter says, is it another holiday? Where is everyone on the streets? I don't know. I haven't been out on the streets yet, Hunter. Ed Giles doesn't need to be yelling this early. Good morning, Skylar Gomez, 365 over on the vertical feed. Thanks for stopping in. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe over there. Stu is wondering about my cunnilingness, my muff diving history. Now he's wondering if I ever ate a clit ring. I didn't. I've never eaten one. That ended up removed from the person it was attached to. Games like games with a Z. Okay. Skylar Games 365. Gotcha. Chris Dixon in with a Colonel Lingus. It's Colonel Angus. Digger says it came from arthritis and deterioration of the vertebrae. Oh, man. Is that a like, are you going to be healed soon? Not to air all your health information on the internet, but man, I hope you're going to be good soon. I don't like to see anybody down and out like that. Good morning, Error, over on the vertical feed. Thanks for popping in. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe. So this weekend, Corey and I made a trip to the cabin. Staying out at Tim's cabin at Delinquent Scully, getting it back to functionality, getting it back to everything functioning after work days, after SRF. We had things set up pretty well to function for us. It's not our cabin. It's it's not our cabin. It's where we stay when we go out there on the weekends to get out of the camper, to get some work done and start progressing towards building our cabin out there. So we set it up to use as we were out there, as people were coming into town. That was the main base of operations for work days. So things got kind of shuffled around. We rearranged a lot of stuff. Things got used, things got bought, and then Tim ended up bringing a bunch of stuff that ended up being stored there. So Corey and I took I think, what was that, all of Friday, Corey, that we kind of oh, that's right, we got out Friday night. Saturday we took quite a bit of the morning to basically take everything out, reorganize everything, and put it away, and get it kind of set up for the next stretch of us using it while we build our cabin, which is the next thing on the list here, really. Backwoods says, Digger, if you could also put your social security number and the name of your first pet, that would be great. Yes, for sure. John Palmer says, nice gutters. Yeah, I'm getting to that. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Digger says, not soon. Working on getting home and mobile. Dude, I mean, it's not great. Like, I'm not saying a happy retirement, but I guess it's better than currently being, if you needed to go to work and you weren't able to, and this was going on. I mean, it sucks right after you're retired and this is what's going on, but could be worse, I guess. Could be worse. Wait. Skylar Games 356. I thought it was 365. I can't even read. Over on the vertical feed says, guys, you're gonna wanna follow this. It says, yes, my channel is support to all people. I am just seeing if other channels support them too. I support all, including Russians. What about you? Personal opinion. I subscribed, by the way. I hate everybody equally. So I guess that means I like everybody equally also. So there's that. There's that. So Saturday morning, we spent a lot of the time. We dug into the cabin. We pretty much put hands on everything in the cabin. Rearranged, packaged stuff away. Steve Katz says, "Have I ever sniffed underwear? My own or someone else's?" John Palmer says, "Put on my glasses." I took them off a long time ago, and I just never put them on. I probably should. Skylar says, "Thank you. You deserve lots of love, my friend." Thanks. I get all the love. Steve wants to know if I've sniffed either. If I've sniffed either. I mean, I've smelled my underwear to decide if they were clean or dirty in my 46 years on this earth. I have a feeling. And yes, I probably no. I don't know. Budsville says that's an admission in itself. That's true. That's true. Canadian Farmstead said that's a cop out. Jesus. So we basically put hands on everything in the cabin, rearranged it, put it away in totes. Stu Katz is doing a study. All right. How is your study doing? Good morning, Budsville. I appreciate you. Thanks for stopping. We got it all arranged back into totes and put away so rodents and things can't get it, and it's not getting dirty. Kind of separated things that were long-term items, like Chris Dixon was super nice and sent us hardware, paper towel holder, toilet paper holder, hooks and things that he made for both Tim's cabin and our cabin. We got that stuff kind of organized so that once we finish the walls, once we have our cabin done, we can start setting that up. We basically have our stuff we're using plus the stuff that will eventually be in there permanently. So we took all morning and did that. We made it very, very much more functional for us after work days. It was we went out there last weekend and it was cluttered, let's just say. So we got everything put away. We kind of formulated a plan. I talked to Tim about the plan for the cabins that we have there now. His cabin, the main cabin, and then the one that we built on workday. How the flow is kind of going to go there. We have materials stored in the bathhouse that's behind Tim's cabin. And we need to get that out of there so we can finish that. We can get the composting toilet in there. We can get the shower stall in there, and we can get we can get the running water and all sorts of stuff. So we took that time. It was worth it. It's made things more functional already, and just going forward, it makes things easier while we're out there. You'll notice that I don't have my my little light here. Forgot to plug it in this weekend. The battery's dead. Bitcoin's down. We got red this morning, but red at 68. I'll take red at 68. That's cool. So that was Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon, Corey, I needed to wrangle Corey and get her to help me for a minute up at the property or at our build site. I've been working on this gutter project since forever. I've been trying to get the gutters on the metal shed up at our site. It's just been a long process. I got started on it. I started building the gutters and then I got sick. And then got back to it a little bit, made some adjustments, fitted them, got them ready to go on. Then we had work days and SRF, and then it's just no real rain in the future in the forecast. We've been kind of just sitting back on it. So had Corey there. We kind of got done with getting everything put away at the cabin, and I said, "Hey, can you give me like 20 minutes, half hour?" And actually, I said, "Can you help me?" And Stu Cat's wondering if I pull out. Only if I've pulled in. Only if I pulled in. I asked her if she could help me, and she says, "Well, how long is it going to take?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Could take 20 minutes, could take 2 hours. I have no idea." So we wandered up there. I think it ended up taking about a half hour. John Palmer says excuses are like what? It wasn't an excuse. It was just literally why it hasn't been done yet. Ryan King, thanks for stopping in. Hey, from the UK, mate, what's your channel about, bro? Hope you're having a good day. My channel's about all sorts of shit, but right now this is a daily morning show I do Monday through Friday from 6 to 7 Central in the United States. But basically, living outside the system is what LOTS stands for. Talk a lot about an off-grid property we're working on. I've lived as a nomad with my wife and currently 2 St. Bernards in a travel trailer for the last few years. Into homesteading, off-grid stuff. Yeah, all sorts of fun stuff. That's what my channel's about. Stu Katz asked if it's raw. I said, I mean, is there any other way? I've been married for years and years. I've been with the same woman for 18 years. What do you think? So anyway, we ran up there to put the gutters on. I had to have somebody else hold. I couldn't progress until I had someone there. I guess I could have made up some sort of jig to hold up one end and got it on and monkey fucked around with it until I got it got it. Bless you. Until I got it strapped there or screwed in, but it was just easier with Corey holding it, and so I got her up there. We Skylar's saying, "I'm sorry if my question for everyone to subscribe was too troublesome for you to answer. Love from Russia." Would everybody subscribe to Skylar in Russia? I guess. I guess. Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate that. Hit the like and subscribe, would you? And stop by anytime. So basically, if you don't know what the gutters that I made, I basically took 2-inch PVC pipe, made a long pipe, put a cap on one end, and then I took and cut a channel out of the side of the pipe. And basically, I'm sliding it onto a corrugated metal roof. So then I took some of the metal strapping. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a long, thin strapping. It's got a bunch of different holes in it. You can cut it with a tin snips. Mimi Jim says, "I love big women." I mean, I love women in general, and you can have the big ones if you want. King. They said I'm their favorite transgender YouTuber. Nice. Chris Dixon says all round. All round what? All women around. So took some strapping and some sheet metal screws and popped that up there and hung it on. It went nice. It went nice and smooth once we got that channel up over the lip. Got that channel over the lip. We got it snugged on there, got it secured, and then Chris Dixon says it comes in copper too, which is handy. all round. I don't know. Is that a brand or what that technically is called? The metal strapping with all the holes in it. Is that what it's called? All round? I just always called it metal strapping. So then I was curious. So when I measured out and laid out the lines for cutting the channel in the pipe, I kept it in my head that I wanted to cut it plumber's strap. And yeah, that's exactly what it is, Hunter. Oh my god, the vertical feed is a dumpster fire in the comments, guys. Talking about eating hamsters and ripping the heads off doves. My god. And I kept in mind that I needed the pitch of the gutter to run to the back, both of them. Obviously, for the gutter to drain out the back. Excuse me. So I had laid it out on the pipe to pitch to the back of the pitch to the back of the shed. But things got kind of wonky when I was cutting that when I was cutting the channel out, and I wasn't sure if it ended up right, if it ended up to the fact or ended up to where it was going to be pitching, and I left it loose with the strapping so that I could put a shim or something in the front, just to, it doesn't have to have too much of a pitch. It just needs to be enough downhill that the water won't run that way. And so I grabbed a level and I went up, and for some unknown reason, this is far from how my life has been going recently. But for some unknown reason, both of them were pitched right. They both were going to run downhill. One was pretty close to level, but it was on the proper side of the bubble of the little the lines in the level. I was just a little pitched, which is going to be plenty for the water. So I was excited. I didn't have to dick around with that. That was pretty much set. So basically what's left with the gutters is I got to get some screening up, basically some leaf guard to keep the leaves from running in there. I have a clean out that is planned into the system. So I'm going to get some fiberglass screen. I'm going to run that up along the top and kind of seal that edge where the water is going to run down through to keep the leaves from popping in there. And then plumbing out the back to kind of tie in together, come across the shed, tie in together, and then dump into a tote. And yeah, it should be done pretty quick. I guess I do have to paint the other plumbing or the other PVC. The smaller size PVC that's going to be used for the plumbing on the backside. So that was good progress on that. I should be able to knock that out. The rest of the plumbing and the screen, it's going to be just a couple of hours maybe. So I'm excited about that. Get that plumbing project done. The rest of the weekend, we what else did I do? Oh, I got a nice temporary setup for a little bit of power, set up some temporary permanent power, I guess. We're going to be testing out a solar setup. So I posted a video last week of a little solar setup I wired up. I got some products in the mail from Lithium Time. I got a battery and a charge controller. I've had it says somebody, is this dude building a mini home or something? Basically, yeah, I am. Right now, I was talking about a shed that I put up in the middle of the woods, and I'm putting gutters on it. That's all for rainwater collection. And he says, am I building a van? I look like a van guy. I actually live in an RV right now. I am a nomad. I sold a farm, moved into an RV, and now we're building a cabin in the woods, completely off grid. So you're kind of right. You're kind of right. I would live in a van, other than the fact I have a wife and 2 Saint Bernards, so I can't really. We wouldn't fit in a van, I don't think, at the moment. It's tough enough in the travel trailer. It was the beard. The beard made the van. Really. Hunter says once I figure out Noster, I'll be able to live stream the full butchering process for rabbit. What do you need help with streaming to Noster? It's not incredibly difficult. You just need to have some streaming service to use it. So the power setup that I'm putting together, I had some freebie 100 and 200 watt solar panels. I figured what I wanted to use this for. So we wanted to use this system. I went back and forth whether I wanted to use it for an RV water pump to use to give us pressurized water once we fill the IBC tote, or if I wanted to use it to run a Starlink router and just put that on its dedicated own power system and let it kick all the time. Getting backup Starlink equipment. I also talked to Tim, the property owner, and he's interested in possibly running the Starlink there all the time. So he can have cameras on his cabin, on the property, kind of look in, check in, and stuff like that. So the thing about running the Starlink 24/7 is we needed power to run the router. It runs about 40 watts on average, pretty consistent, all 24/7. And so I thought this system, I did the math, I calculated it out. I think this little system will more than run that Starlink router. And so I did a temporary setup. I mounted the charge controller and then an inverter that Tim left. I told you he left a bunch of stuff. One of the things he left was a truck inverter. I was like, well, this will work. I could use the inverter off the battery and plug Starlink router into the inverter. Plenty of power. Aaron says, how often should one drink their own pee? And if you drink a relative's pee, is it incest? I'm not a pee drinker. I don't know. Matt Torrance says Trump 2024. Good for you. Go Trump, I guess, or Harris. I don't care. Ray's wondering, how off grid are we talking? Castaway with Tom Hanks or like Scooby Doo? Like our property we're building on has no access to city water, public utilities, so no electricity, no water, no natural gas, no anything. So I will be completely dependent on myself. How's that, Ray? Is that off grid? Is that Tom Hanks? I guess we do have a halfway serviceable access road. No sewer either. No sewer. Chris Dixon says it's neat how off grid now includes connected to the internet. Yeah, that is one thing that I was. I mean, I guess it doesn't. It's not tied to anything, so I guess it. I guess it would qualify as disconnected. It's all wireless. Matt Torrance says you don't care. Wow. Why do you care? This is so weird, antisocial. Is there a reason why you want to be social anymore? Hunter says he's going off grid, not dropping off the face of the planet. I mean, I'm going self-sufficient. How about that? And if the internet goes down, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, we deal with it. We deal with it quite often here with our Starlink 2 weeks at a time. Um, fucking Trump. Anyway, so I mounted that charge controller that I got and inverter to a piece of plywood. I put it in the bathhouse. I mounted it on the wall. Put the battery in there, then run the solar panel out, and threw it on top of the the cabin. And it's working pretty well. I just looking at the input I'm getting and knowing that the Starlink takes about 40 watts, I think we're going to be good for power wise where I got that panel. The issue I'm coming into now is where to put the Starlink. And if you guys have been to Delinquent Scully, the trees, there's just shitloads of trees. Trees too close together, very tall, skinny trees. So trying to find a swath to aim the Starlink router at is a challenge. And I thought, because I got this mount, so I had a company send me out a Starlink mount. I was excited. It's a mount for the side of the house. So if you want to mount it up on your house and have it point out, so you'll see it's just like a bracket. If you've ever seen the Starlink, it goes in this hole, goes in the hole. So it's got this, it's got a mast, and then the Starlink sits out here, the other way, like this. I don't know. Anyway, I was assuming that I could just put this up on a tree. Just put it up on a tree, pretty high up, and then kind of clear out in front of it enough of a window to get some signal for the Starlink. So Corey and I kind of went out behind Tim's cabin, and the new cabin that's back there kind of went behind where, it's not going to affect the view very much. And started picking some trees that if we selectively picked out some trees, that it would open up the window a little farther. I have to get I'll get to that in just a second, Chris. I have to get enough consistent signal to do my show in the morning without it dropping out every 10 minutes, or whatever a tolerable amount would be 0 for me, but we'll see what we can do. And also get a consistent enough signal for Corey to be able to work full time. And once we do that, we can really make some progress when we can stay out multiple days in a row. Right now, we're limited to kind of going out on Friday evening. If you just put solar panels under your pot lights, it's infinite power. Yeah, that's how that works. So we need consistent internet for Corey to work. And right now we're going out Friday evening. We're getting there close to dark. Getting a full day on Saturday, and then Sunday we try to get back here early enough that we can get things back ready to go for the week. So as we can go out there on Thursday night or spend a week, it really extends the amount of time that we can and progress we can make. So Corey and I picked out some trees. We had a plan set. I was going to work on it this week, trying to drop some trees out. Corey actually has long weekends every other week for the rest of the year. So we could potentially go out on Thursday night if I can figure out how to do my show on Friday mornings from the cabin. And this was all going to get worked out prior to workday before we got sick. And then before the Starlink got shut down. It's been in the works for a while. We kind of finalized the plan. I was happy with the way it was going to work, and then for some reason I grabbed the mount. I found, for some reason, I decided I needed to go look at the mount. And so I got the bracket out. And I went out and held it up to the tree, and I was looking at the Starlink, and I'm like, all right, so if I mount this against the tree and the shaft goes here, there's a problem because the distance here, when the Starlink goes to calibrate, it goes flat. And it doesn't have enough room to go flat. So the tree would be here. It doesn't have enough room to go flat. So basically, this fucking thing is useless unless it's at the top. So unless the tree's cut off here, I mean, even up here, because the stem's going to come out here, it's like a foot long. So this has to be within a foot of the top of whatever I'm putting it on, so that when the Starlink calibrates and goes flat, it doesn't hit the tree and fuck up the motor. So I was kind of irritated about that. So I looked around. Corey was off on a run. I looked, I contemplated a little bit, and I found a tree, probably 6 inches in diameter, that I'm going to be able to cut off about 6-8 feet in the air, depending on how adventurous I get with the chainsaw on a ladder, and that however tall I can cut it, and then be able to mount this, and it doesn't really change the trees that we decided we were going to take down. I think the window will still be appropriate. But I'm glad I for some reason grabbed that bracket and started looking at it before I started cutting trees. So that plan shifted just slightly, but it should still be appropriate. So that's this week. Is getting trees knocked down is my goal. And then, like I said, Corey's got Fridays off for the rest of the year, so we might be doing a test run, depending on how much I get done this week. We might be getting a test run of the show from the property on Friday morning. Maybe we'll see, or we might stick around here until Friday after the show, and then scoot out. We're not sure yet. Chris Dixon said, with limited cell service, did you guys try out any on-property comms during work days? We use some handheld radios for folks coming into the property. We predetermined a frequency we're going to use, and as close as we could get, like we were able to talk to people coming in at the end of the easement road. At the time that we were having work days, the road was sketchy leading up to it. It dried out quite a bit in the days prior and during work days. So it didn't become an issue towards the end, but we did use two-way radios, like the Baofeng programmables. They worked well. We didn't necessarily have to use them on the property. We just, you just kind of walked around. It's only 15, 16 acres, so it's not a ton of space. We had radios on site. No one was listening to them anyway. Basically, I'm not a radio guy. I'm not a comms guy. I'm not a ham guy. I'm not any of that. So I basically, when someone else would get there, I would hand them the radio and go, okay, you're in charge of this shit. I lose them. I turn them off. I don't like listening to it. I don't like talking on it, whatever. So I would hand it off to like Tim. I'd be like, Tim, here's the radio. And then I would find them laying around. So I guess no one else likes to be a radio guy either, because they would either turn them off, or I'd find them laying somewhere, and I'd be like, hey, Tim, somebody was calling you on the radio, and he'd like go reach in his pocket, and he'd be like, oh, I must have set it down somewhere. Exactly why I handed that responsibility off. So did we test out any comms? Yeah, a little bit. Can we make it work? Probably. Are we going to get any long range signals out? Not yet. I'm guessing at some point. Once our cabin's done, once we really make Tim's cabin a base camp, or the presidential suite, the home base, the King's Palace, probably hook up with someone like an Evan Dixon and have him come out and put in like a comm center. Once we have power that can run it, and we can install the system, probably having some sort of ham comm system in that cabin for emergencies, for comms, for people coming in that don't have cell signal, that get lost, things like that. I could see that being a valuable resource, and then being able to do the class around it, and then teach beyond that. Once we have it installed, that's just something else we can teach about. So, what's that? Why, you want to talk to me? You're more than welcome to use radio anytime. We can set them up. I didn't think you wanted to talk to me very much. Corey, I guess Corey wants to talk to me more than I thought, so we'll Take the Ride says, look at Meshtastic nodes. Well, that's another thing. So when the Starlink is out there, what does Meshtastic run? Meshtastic nodes, do they run they run off a ham signal? Take the Ride. I am not a comms guy. I'm definitely not a comms guy. I've gotten into the world of wireless routing a little bit as I was getting out of the gas equipment industry. Everything that I did was wired till the end, and then they were finally coming up with secure enough PCI 5 rated secure enough wireless connections to transfer, and heavy enough connections to use for credit cards, pump communications. So that was the first I've ever dove into wireless comms. And now that I have Starlink, and Starlink has its Starlink has mesh network capabilities with its routers, probably for comms on site, and this would be only if Starlink was up and the equipment was working, obviously. We'll probably have a mesh network of Starlink routers on the property to cover the property, and then have access to that and be able to turn it on and off for guests as they want. Because one of the intentions is to be able to let guests come out and be comms free, to be able to come out and not stare at their phone just because it's not available. Hunter says, get a tower, paint it, super glue the Starlink to it, radio and internet. Why do I need to paint it? Take the Ride says they're low powered radio devices. I got it. And Hunter says he's a problem solver. Yeah, sure. So the Starlink hopefully gets test run next weekend, and that was one of the big deals about the 3-day weekend. We would get a bigger window to both calibrate the Starlink and see what trees are still obstructing the view, and get a 3-day sample on the power draw from the solar system and see how well it it keeps up. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, Hunter says we need to paint the tower so it blends in. I literally have 40-foot tall trees that I don't need a tower, really. I guess. I climb up the tree. I'm also not a big fan of heights, so find out. I'll get some crazy son of a bitch to come out here and mount my shit up there. The problem is when it breaks, then you got to climb up there and bring it down. Hunter says arborist is a dangerous job. Yeah, for sure it is. For sure it is. I'll be happy. I've been cutting down a shitload of trees in the last 6 months. And some that are borderline big enough diameter that it was bigger than my saw. And with a 20-inch bar on my chainsaw, 20-inch diameter tree is rather stout, let's say. Usually if the base trunk is 20 inches in diameter, it's a pretty tall tree. It's a big tree. It's a lot of weight. Been cutting a lot of them down and clearing a lot of stuff. I have a few more spots I got to clear like 5 more trees for our site, just that are in fall range of the cabin when we build it, so that in a storm they're not going to come down and hit the cabin. And then I have probably a half a dozen trees to drop for the Starlink clearing. Once I get that done, I'll be happy. I'll be a lot more relaxed when I'm only having to drop trees here and there to clear a campsite or something like that. But running the saw pretty consistent for 6 months, it gets nerve-wracking. I'm confident in my abilities taking trees down, but it's a stressful situation the whole time I'm doing it, because I'm very aware of what can happen. So I'll be glad to have those done. I'll be glad to have those done for sure. And then it'll be spot clearing after that. But I had a bunch to do pretty quick here, and I feel relieved every time they hit the ground, and everything's good. Everything's good. So we'll see. We got probably this week, maybe a little bit more, and I'll be done dropping trees for a while. And then we'll be building instead of dropping. We'll be building. Other than that, we got we got the trees watered down in the food forest again. The water system was holding up fine, continuing to circulate and having no issues. Was able to fill up 5-gallon buckets, and the 4 5-gallon buckets, get those down to the nursery and water the trees. Carrie asked us to do 1 gallon a week, and that's what we've been doing until they're dormant for the winter. And then depending on the rain level, we'll probably do once a month, or if at all, depending on how the rain goes. And then hopefully going into the spring, we'll have a water system set up right down there in the nursery. I did a little exploring on the seep coming out that supplies the creek down in the nursery, and I don't think it's going to be as simple as the one by Tim's place. I don't think I'm going to have enough vertical drop. I have to explore some more. It's not 100% off the table, but I was hoping that the seep that came and filled the creek that runs through the nursery, I was hoping that there'd be enough elevation drop that I could do a similar system as as we did behind Tim's, but have the feed pipe come across and have an elevated water storage right there in the nursery without having to pump it up into the tote. Put the tote on a tower. Hunter says, I still think a water tower would be cool. This would be a mini water tower, but unfortunately, I only think we're going to get a couple feet of drop there. It's okay. Basically, it's going to require power to pump the water instead of using gravity. I was hoping that we would be able to use gravity, but still might be able to. I'm going to go poke around as fall is coming in, as winter is coming in, and the foliage is dropping back. I can access a lot more areas a lot easier to get up these runoffs and these creek beds and see if I can poke down into the ground and get a little water to start percolating up. That's going to be ideal. If I could get 8 feet, if I could get 10 feet of rise, which I can see through the woods enough now that I know I have at least 6 foot because it's above my head, where the top of the creek bed is. If I can get up in there and get even 5 feet, that just changes the scenario of what we can do without power. We'll see. That project is coming over the winter, and hopefully by spring we'll have water right down in the nursery. Ray over on the vertical feed says, what is wrong with you? You talking that and Diddy's in jail? Oh man, Diddy's in jail. Yeah. Whew. Thank God those tapes of me at Diddy's place haven't come out yet. Ray wants to know what I'm gonna do about Diddy. I'm gonna do shit about Diddy. I talked about Diddy, so this motherfucker's here wondering what I'm going to do about Diddy. He doesn't realize that before Diddy was even being chased, I was talking about Diddy and sexual blackmail in relation to Meyer Lansky and LBJ and all sorts of or Hoover and the FBI and everything. Like, seriously, I was all over the Diddy fucking sexual blackmail thing. It wasn't even on anybody's radar yet. Go back and listen about... I think the episode is actually called The Diddler. Probably 3 months ago. Hunter says May 5th, 2025 is Diddy's court date. Think he'll make it? I'm sure he'll have an unfortunate accident. He might actually slip on some baby oil in the shower and fall and bang his head and then hang himself somehow. The frogs are gay! Chris Dixon says even 2 foot will get you flow over a small rise in your pipe. Yeah, I mean, I'll take any vertical drop that I can get. I was hoping to be able to have 10 feet and then be able to build a 5 foot platform and put an IBC tote or several on top and have the pipe feed into the IBC and then use the overflow to run a couple different things. One was a living river system that Brian Norton has come up with for starting plants. We would also be able to use that large drop to run a ram pump to pump water up the hill to our site. We were going to be able to have gravity feed drip irrigation for the food forest and the trees and things like that. 2 feet, we'll see. There's a lot more you can do with if you can get that water that much higher. So we'll see what happens. I still have exploring to do for the water situation at our cabin. We'll see. Ray is wondering, is that the first billionaire to be in jail? I doubt it. And is Bill Gates on Epstein's list? I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is. Who? Other thing I had on my list today is Corey and I. So I grew up in the 80s, mostly 80s and 90s, in the late 1900s, and we had a thing like we didn't have. When I was a kid, we were mostly cassette tapes, and into CDs. No MP3s. Right at the time, I was kind of getting out of high school into college. We were heavy into LimeWire and all that shit, and downloading MP3s. But the storage devices, we weren't. I watched the iPod be invented and released. So we didn't have streaming music. We didn't have anything like that. One thing that I did listen to a lot of when I was a kid was radio. And so Tim had a battery powered radio out at the cabin, and I asked Corey, I was like, you mind if I see if we get a radio station around here? And Ray is wondering if Diddy was a billionaire. Diddy's broke, actually. Diddy was very smart in the fact that he put everything he owns in somebody else's name. I believe it was his mom and his kid. Basically, Diddy owns nothing. So I asked Corey if we had batteries. We had batteries. I was like, I'm gonna pump up this radio and see if we can get a channel. And so I turned it on, and Tennessee is very hilly. If you know anything about FM radio, I was trying to find an FM station, see what we could find. First one I found was church on Saturday afternoon, and you guys all know how much of a religious man I am, and listening to church was going to go over really well. And so I skipped past that, and then I was rolling through, and I made it all the way through the dial, back down. And I was heading back up for one last try, and I was able to get a country station to start coming in. And I was holding the antenna. I was trying to get the antenna. It was just this little black transistor radio, and I had the antenna, and I was kind of moving it around, and it would come in a little better. And you remember doing that when you were a kid? Anybody in the audience old enough to remember? And then when you let go of the antenna, it kind of gets staticky, and then maybe you can put your hand kind of close to it, and you don't even need to be touching it, but you can get it. You can get the signal to come in different as you're manipulating your body position. That was where I was at. Corey asked if I wanted some tinfoil. I was very proud of my wife for suggesting tinfoil to put on the antenna. And I was like, no, I got this. And so it was sitting out on the table next to the Coleman camp stove. So I took the antenna and I bent it over and I touched it against the camp stove, and the thing came in nice and clear. So we had it sitting there, and we were listening to this country music station. I shouldn't say country music. John Palmer says, I remember being the TV antenna, right? Where your parents were like, fuck you, you're not watching. You're just going to stand there and make the signal come in better. Right? So this country music channel, I used to be a pretty big country music fan. In the late, I guess it would be the early 2000s, I listened to, I guess back when I was a kid, I listened to old country, outlaw country, Johnny Cash and Merle Haggard and shit like that. And then I got into a little bit of country music in the early 2000s. Corey and I went to a country music concert every year, with a 3-day concert up in Minnesota that was good. But as they transitioned into like rap country, I think it's affectionately named Hick Hop, or whatever. Um, I I I kind of fell out of favor with it. I was like, if I wanted to listen to rap, I'd listen to rap. If I wanted to, if I wanted to listen to rap, I'd listen to rap. If I want to listen to country, I'd listen to country. I don't need them mixed together. I can choose. Um, so I was listening to this country music station and I was like, what is this? It literally sounded like the pop music from when I was younger. If you listen to a pop music station on the radio, it would have been what this country music sounded like. I was like, Hunter says, yes, back when country music still told a story. And that's the thing, these didn't tell a story. And I've laughed at the Bo Burnham. Bo Burnham has a song, and there's several others that several others that sing a similar song, kind of making fun of country music and how it's just cookie cutter and like Mad Lib together. Like you got to put the brand of your truck and the job at the mill, and you talk about this and that, and putting your blue jeans on and your girlfriend in her blue jeans and whatever. So there's a formula that they make these songs, and you could sit there and listen song after song, and it was the same over and over. And I was like, oh man, this is so true. I thought it was true when he came out with the song like 5 or 6 years ago. It is really true now. It's gotten really bad. And so I was kind of getting sick of it, but it was the only channel that would come in. Corey's like, do you want me to put my music on my phone? And I was like, let's give it a chance for a little bit. So we went and did some stuff. We came back, and I was getting some stuff ready out back. Corey wasn't out there, and I literally heard 3 cover songs, and I don't even know if I could call them cover songs. They took good songs and made them really shitty. Some of them were direct covers of songs. I think I heard a Janis Joplin song that they just made horrible. I heard a couple of other songs that they used the hook. They used some of the verse, and then they changed it. And I'm like, wow, this is horrible. This is really bad. 3 cover songs in a row, none of which were any good. The originals were 100% better. I was just curious what was going on. And then all of these songs, just none of them are country. And I asked Corey at one point, I said, is this radio station, is this a country station, or is this just like a general radio station where Tennessee, that the general radio programming just happens to lean a little bit country? But it's not like all country. And then it came on, the radio advertisement came on and said, this is da 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 da, the home of today's country. And I'm like, I don't know about that. And then the other thing about radio, and I don't listen to the radio in the truck. I barely listen to any music in the truck or anything at all in the truck. Usually because my radio doesn't work. And so Hunter says, you're just old. You're not down with the hip hop funk of today's youth. I mean, maybe I am, but not when I'm listening to a country station. If I was listening to a hip hop funk station, that would make sense. Chris Dixon says, I believe David Allan Coe, who is a phenomenal country artist, said you can't have a country song without trains, trucks, dogs, or mamas. For sure. I agree. And Chris Dixon says, fuck, I'm old. I feel that way sometimes. I feel that way. The fact that I had to get my listening cone to listen to the radio, for sure. And so I was like, all right, this is the only station available. It is what it is. It's just out in the background. It'll be what it is. It's just like being in the grocery store or some shit. And so so I'm sitting there listening to it. We leave it on, and then we're sitting at a fire, and the commercials came on. And I'm listening to these commercials, and I asked Corey, did they just say that? She's like, I just tuned out during the commercials. I can't tell you. Literally, they played a pair of commercials 3 times in a row. So they played a commercial, they played another one, and then they restarted again, and they did it 3 times in a row. And I don't know if they didn't sell enough advertising to fill their time slot, or if they just really wanted to annoy the living piss out of you with these horrible commercials. And if the commercials that are on the radio today are telling at all of the intelligence level or the mentality of the people listening to the radio, if they're targeted marketing people by the advertisements they're making, I don't want to be in society. Somebody said I'm antisocial, I want to go live in the woods. If those are the people they're targeting, if that's the general consensus of the general mass public, I don't want to be in public, because holy shit. Not good. Not good. Hello to you, Sone. I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry. I apologize. Hunter says, listen to today's country or AM talk. What's the subject of the AM talk? Politics? I would rather sit in silence. I would almost rather listen to a Yoko Ono album than political talk radio at this point, for sure. It sound about the same. Something like that. But man, I think is this the reason radio's dead? Or are there people listening to this shit and they think it's good? Like, seriously, most of the songs that came on, like I wasn't joking about the commercials. They literally played the same 2 commercials 3 times in a row, back to back to back, in one commercial break. But the country music, I couldn't really tell one song from the other. Hunter says, do they talk about anything other than the political crap? Sports talk radio. AM radio has sports talk usually, and political talk. I don't know other than that. So I couldn't really tell the difference between the country songs. So I think the Bo Burnham song, where they're just making up a Mad Lib for songs. They're just doing that. They're using the same melody, the same voice drops, the tone drops, and the key changes. Everything is the same. I went through the whole band thing. I was in band. I knew music. My mom taught piano. Like, I took piano lessons. Bless you, Corey. Like, I understand music and some of music theory. I'm not. I mean, I don't have a degree in it or anything, but I understand concepts. They're all the same. John Palmer says, I'd rather be deaf than listen to sports. There is something to be said about a baseball game on the radio in the background. Like, I don't think I would ever go and sit down and listen to a baseball game to listen to the baseball game. I could probably sit and have a baseball game in the background just because of the nostalgic memories of when I was a kid. Chris Dixon says, I miss Sex Talks with Sue Johansson. You don't listen to Sex Talk with Sue on the fucking radio, Chris. How are you going to see when she does the sex toy review and shows them and kind of demonstrates them on the TV screen and then gives them the hibachi of love rating? I do miss Sue Johansson. Chris Dixon says only if Vin Scully's calling the game. Yeah, there's a select few. There's a select few. Ray says don't curse the Holy Spirit. Jesus fucking Christ. What? Riley James. Is Riley James anything like Riley Reid? What about Mia Khalifa? Coffee's gone. Time to go. Coffee's gone. Time to go. All right, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up today. I gotta get out of here. I'm gonna head out to the property. I got a boatload of product videos to record. Whole shitload came in towards the end of last week, so I got a bunch of video recording to do, editing. I got to cut down a bunch of trees, and John Palmer says she was more like Art Bell. Oh, so not like Riley Reid. Don't Google Riley Reid. Just, I mean, if you want to, you can, but not on your wife's phone. Cut down a bunch of trees this week, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be doing the show from Delinquent Scully on Friday morning, and then every other Friday morning going through until we feel comfortable working out there for sure. We'll maybe be doing a test run. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Other than that, guys, have a fantastic Monday. Get a bunch of shit done. Start your week out right, and set the tone for the whole week. What do you got? What do you got going today? You got a bunch of stuff you're going to get done. I hope you achieve all your goals and all your happiness, and have a fantastic day. Swing back by, and we'll check you out tomorrow morning.